was falling apart. I felt bad for my daughter. I'm trying not to be scared for her. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So today's video is gonna be kind of like a chill chat vibes video. I just wanted to come on here and have a open and honest conversation, of course, about pregnancy, and kind of like tell you guys my experience and what I've been going through the last few months in my pregnancy emotionally. I didn't want to put this part in my pregnancy updates just because I didn't want them to be too long and like get off topic and stuff like that. So this video, I'm just gonna talk about emotions, spiritual effects, and like how pregnancy affected me mentally. First and foremost, I want to say God bless you to anyone that is suffering right now from the epidemic that's going on. Anyone who's affected in any type of way, with sickness, with finances, anything like that, with just mentally affected by what's going on, even if those things aren't really attacking you right now. I want to say God bless you, and I'm praying for us all. I was kind of like not too sure about making this video. I know that I'm not going to title it a certain way that makes it clickbaity, like everyone's putting like coronavirus in their titles, and I do not want to add any more fear or negative energy or anything like that into the world right now when no one needs that. But I do think it's important for me to come on here and share my experience and let other pregnant women know that you are not alone, that we're all in this together, that we all might be going through the same thing at the same time, and that it will be okay. We just have to come together, stick together, have open dialogue and conversation, talk to someone if you're mentally going through a hard time. I know right now we're all quarantining and self-isolation and things like that, but you do not have to isolate yourself mentally. If I'm honest, I feel so blessed to be pregnant. There's definitely been some roadblocks, like it hasn't just been like the happiest time ever, and it's really sad to say that my first pregnancy is kind of like put a bad taste of pregnancy in my mouth. You know what I mean? Like I kind of never want to do this again. Let me just get into some of the things that I was feeling at first. So if you guys don't know, early on in the first trimester, when I first found out I was pregnant, I was going to school, I was working retail, I was taking 6 classes, I was working long hours, holiday hours in retail, and it was a very intense time, especially in your first trimester when you're sick. I felt very defeated. I felt like no one really understood what I was going through, because early on I felt this thing of people feeling like or thinking that I couldn't do it, that I couldn't be the best mom ever, that I couldn't handle life because I'm young and a mom. You get what I'm saying? Like you feel that pressure, even though people don't say that to you directly, but you still feel that pressure from certain things people say. Like as soon as you tell most people that you're pregnant, they're like, it's gonna be hard. They tell you all the negative things, how stressed you're gonna be, but they don't, it's not many people that encourage you. Well, at least for me in my life, there wasn't many people that was encouraging me and saying, you know, you're gonna be a great mom, you got this, you can do this, I'm there for you. Right after I got pregnant, I felt a crazy like motivation and ambition to do 10 times the work that I could actually do. So like I wanted to work like 4 jobs, make a bunch of money, do this, do that, like go to school. Like I wanted to do so much, but my body was like, chill sis. You hear these stories about these super moms and women doing incredible things during their pregnancy and stuff like that. So you give yourself that expectation. Also, I feel like in the Black community, Black women in general are looked at as these superhero-like beings. And if we function at any level lower than that, then we get kind of like shamed or shunned. Sometimes this came from other mothers, but most of the time it came from people who have never had children. They would critique my plans on being a mother or my plans on moving with my husband to another state before my child was here, and a bunch of different things. And this is what I don't like about a lot of women sometimes is that if we don't agree with the way someone else is doing something, we shame them and we shun them and we put them down. And I don't feel like that's right. I feel like everyone is different. Everyone has a different experience. Especially when a woman is pregnant, you should not be spreading negativity, saying negative things to her. It affects your pregnancy so much. You're already emotional and going through a bunch of stress and stuff like that. Be sure to pay attention to who's around you and what they have to say and how they view you being pregnant, especially if you're a young mom, because everyone has something to say about being a young mom. And very early on in my pregnancy, I also felt shame and judgment for feeling bad. So I literally was suffering. I needed help, and because I was like depressed and I was just not in the right mental state, and I felt so extremely exhausted physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually. Like I just felt so exhausted, and I felt like I couldn't say anything to anyone because I felt like if I did, then I would be a bad mom, or people would be like, oh, you think it's bad now, wait till you have a kid, or you gotta toughen up because now you're gonna have a child. And that's so not fair. It's like moms aren't allowed to feel things. I really don't think that's healthy, and I don't think that's productive, and I don't think that's safe to subject women to being this perfect human that does not feel anything. And one thing that I hated during my pregnancy is anytime I would be sad or upset and someone would tell me, don't be sad because that can affect your baby. That makes me even sadder, that I know that being sad is going to affect my baby, but the thing that's making me sad, it's very hard to not be sad about. Do you get what I'm saying? Like it's kind of crazy. Instead of worrying her more, instead of doing that, maybe you should support her, be there for her, nurture her, love on her, and give positive energy. This is another reason why anyone around you should be a helping hand, supportive, or they do not need to be around you during pregnancy, because that can really put you in a very dark place. I've mentioned on here before that I was diagnosed with adjustment disorder anxiety. So basically what that is every time really big drastic life changes happen, I usually have panic attacks. Because I knew I was pregnant, I was going through so much things that should have broke me down, but I was holding on to it and holding it in. So I didn't have a breakdown or a panic attack or anything like that until recently, actually. Some people might just get to literally just be pregnant, but like for most women, life doesn't stop. You still have to get stuff done. You still have to do things. And for me, I was getting married and I was planning on moving to another state. So of course, all of this stuff is a little bit stressful, but I'm so blessed, like getting married, and that whole experience was just, I was so happy and grateful and felt so blessed. And then moving is stressful for anyone. It is definitely stressful during pregnancy. Before I got married, I actually had the flu. Let me tell you how scary that was. And please don't be mean in the comments and tell me like I'm overreacting or whatever, because when you're pregnant, anything that might threaten the health of your baby is very scary. For some reason, people don't take the flu seriously for some reason. Like people think it's just the flu, but no, the flu can kill you. Especially when you're pregnant, it can be very dangerous for your baby. It's just not a good thing to hear or to have when you're pregnant. February 19th is when I got the flu. And at first I thought it was just like a sinus infection because I get sinus infections. I've had sinusitis, and I thought it was just a sinus infection. Then as the days went on, I started feeling worse and worse, not like I was getting better and better. I went to my doctor, they swabbed my nose, and they told me I had influenza B. The flu. Luckily, this whole time I was monitoring my temperature Anytime my temperature got to 99, I would take Tylenol and that would bring my temperature back down. I was also drinking up tons of fluid, everything I could to fight off the flu. And it felt almost like nothing was working. My doctor did prescribe me medicine for the flu, but because I wasn't feeling any better, I went to the hospital. And when I was in the hospital, they told me that because I'm pregnant, that might be the reason why it's taking my body a long time to like heal itself and go back to normal. I got treated for that and now I'm fine. But I remember being in the hospital, I had a little bit of like cramping or like discomfort. And anytime that happens, they send you to labor and delivery if you're over like 20 something weeks. So the doctor comes in and is like, we're gonna send you to labor and delivery just to check on the baby and see if everything's fine and you're not going into preterm labor. I'm like, what? Preterm labor? And then I get to the labor and delivery and they're like, we're just gonna monitor your contractions and make sure that like nothing is going on. We're gonna do like a vaginal scan. I'm like, contractions? Who said I'm having contractions? I said a little bit of cramping. Like it could be Braxton Hicks. Like, what are you saying? Like I was kind of like freaking out at this point. I'm in the hospital bed. My contractions are being monitored. And I'm just like crying and praying and crying and praying the whole time. And I'm thinking about not making it. But I was even more scared for something to happen to my baby. Like if she can just be okay in some way. Like it's a really, really scary situation. Luckily, everything was okay. They said the cramping could have just been that I was dehydrated, but they had me on an IV, so now that was fine and I did feel a little bit better. And so everything was fine with that. After this, I decided to quit my job. I get paid every 2 weeks. And this 2 weeks, they did not schedule me to work at all. And so literally, I missed the whole paycheck. I'm going to Manhattan every day and risking my life, my pregnancy. This was at the time the coronavirus started being talked about more heavily and we started getting more information about it. I just felt like it wasn't worth the risk. And I said, you know what? Luckily, I'm in a position and my husband works very hard. Thank God I'm in a position where I could quit my job, but I didn't want to. But after having the flu and being so scared to get the coronavirus and not wanting to take any chances with my daughter, I felt like it was the right decision. Then now with the corona outbreak, it brought a different level of anxiety and panic and depression and fear. That's when I had a breakdown. God bless my husband. I was crying all day. I couldn't hold it in anymore. And I would try to hold it in and it would come out even worse. Because my whole pregnancy, everything that has been happening, I've been trying to keep it in. I haven't been trying to like really cry at all or anything like that. I understand everyone is going through anxiety about that right now. I really feel for my girls that's pregnant out here because you have so much to worry about, you know, and then boom, a pandemic. And it's kind of really impossible to not be worried or not have any type of fear and stuff like that. Yeah, I just felt like the world was falling apart. I felt bad for my daughter. And I'm trying not to be scared for her. Anytime I feel a fear or doubt or scared, I'm running to watch a sermon and read my Bible and pray. And that's honestly what's making me able to do this video right now, is God himself, and reminding myself that he is who he is regardless of what's happening in this world. Filter your media intake because there are a lot of clickbait things and articles on the internet that have false information. There's a lot of like fear being put into people. You definitely filter your media intake. Try to stay positive, stay focused, keep yourself busy, reach out to people, check up on people, see how they're doing mentally and emotionally. And to end off this video, I want to leave you guys with a verse that's been helping me through this time. And that is 2 Timothy chapter 1 verse 7. God does not give us a spirit of fear, but of love, power, and self-discipline. I just want to encourage you guys to please stay positive and for my pregnant women to stay strong and reach out to someone if you are having a hard time right now. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.